Deladon is clear to play.
All right, Kareth, we thank you so much. Perhaps at a pinch she could have played against China, but Ann Myers-Drysdale, why risk it?
Well, I will say, though, that one of the things that we talked about, the teamwork of this United States team and their bench points, they averaged almost 52 points off the bench. And Deladon not playing probably gave other players an opportunity to get more minutes.
Of course, that's one thing that Gino Auriemma has done a great job with, is spreading minutes around. You have essentially a team of 12 superstars. Deladon, of course, in her first Olympics.
And only 2 players averaging over 20 minutes a game, and that's Taurasi and Bird.
Taking on a Japan team that plays a very entertaining style. They love to get up and down the floor. They play small ball. Of course, this United States team, very talented. They can play just about any style, but they would like to run as well. Brittany Griner jumping center, and we are underway. Sue Bird, the quarterback. They've been trying to go to Griner early in each and every game. They're doing the same here, and doubling down and stealing it is Yoshida.
Well, that's one thing Brittany Griner will find out. You cannot put the ball on the floor that much with this Japanese team. They are so quick.
Sanae Motokawa against Bird, and she finishes with a left hand. She is averaging 9 at about 20 minutes per game. Japan with a number of players who could spread the floor. Yoshida, number 12, does a great job setting up the shooters. In deep to Tina Charles, who locks it at 2. Charles shooting 61% for the Olympics. That is the best such figure in the tournament.
Yeah, she gets that role there. And one of the things that talked to the coach for Japan, Tom Hovias, saying that we've got to play our game. We can't worry about what USA and how great their players are. We've got to continue to run our game, which is a up-tempo game. And there you see Coach Utsumi, but little jump hook by Charles. But this is a Japanese team that they want an up-tempo game, and they are going to run it as much as they can.
Bird open. It is for 3. Put back by Maya Moore, who has done just about everything a basketball player can do in these first 5+ games.
Yeah, Bird has struggled with her three-point shot. She was 3 of 11 coming into this game, but she also is a facilitator. But Dawn Staley, we talked to her earlier and saying, I'd like Sue Bird to get a little bit more involved in the offense and look for a shot.
Looking for her shot and hitting it, Sanae Motokawa. Looking for hers and getting it, Maya Moore. That was for 3.
Now this is going to be the most up-tempo that the Americans or women are going to have to play against, and a turnover by Japan, which that cannot afford to do that. But Maya Moore on the offense, looking for her shot. Smooth as silk.
Yep.
So such a pretty jump shot.
And continues to do great things on the defensive end. Taurasi, that is for 3, and the air ball for Taurasi, who's been brilliant from beyond the arc so far in the tournament, and it sails out of bounds. 61% from beyond the arc in the tournament. Only Marta Zargai of Spain has been better.
Now she kind of given the stink eye over to the the official a little bit, felt that she was fouled. We've seen that look Spain, a little bit before. Yep.
Spain, China, and Angola represented among the officials. That is for 3, and down it goes. Mika Kurihara, second on Japan in scoring, averaging just under 13. She had 20 opening night against Belarus at a victory.
Well, there's no question. If Japan continues to hit that outside shot, it opens things up for Takashiki inside. Nice move.
Indeed, by Griner. Getting inside, good move that time.
Yeah, and Griner is yelling, let's go. And when she makes a quick decision like that, nobody can defend her one-on-one inside.
Takashiki, their best player, WNBA veteran who plays for Seattle, and both teams shooting well early on. Japan hitting 5 of 7. Charles. Takashiki had a piece of it. Moore for a 3, and Maya Moore with a pair of 3s here in the first.
Yeah, Maya Moore running it down, but Brittany Griner staying after it, keeping the ball alive with that tip. And Diana Taurasi, a great matchup on the point guard.
Motokawa missing the 3. The U.S. coming off a 105-62 victory against China. The offensive foul here called on Brittany Griner.
Well, number 14, Motokawa, coming off a big game where she played really well against France. 17 points, and she was 5'11", but got herself to the free throw line too. So this is a Japan team that can get to the line and create fouls.
They beat France by 8. Japan forcing 22 turnovers in the game. That victory getting them into the quarterfinals. Asami Yoshida.
She's only 5'4", 28 years old, but she is the captain of this team. She leads this team in the direction on where they want to go. She pushes the ball. Moore gets her hands tied up on Yoshida right there. Nothing they could do. Yoshida wasn't going to go anywhere. 14 seconds on the shot clock.
Annie, as you said, they're really aiming for this team to excel in 2020 in Tokyo. In fact, Yoshida at 29, the oldest player on the team. The United States, half their roster, 30 or older. Mamiya with a shot clock running down, and here's Maya Moore. Moore again. She's got it going on here in the first quarter.
Yeah, Maya Moore just looks so smooth and very aggressive and confident in taking her shot.
And finishing inside on a beautiful play, Sanae Motokawa.
And they do a good job getting back on the transition defense.
Moore with 10 of the 14 points for her team.
And one of the keys for the United States, we talked to the coaches beforehand and saying that we've got to get back on transition defense because they love to run.
Kurihara forcing the issue, got her own miss. Yoshida against the 6'8" Brittany Griner. That's a really nice look inside by Yoshida for her teammate Yuka Mamiya.
Well, you got to put a little bit more pressure, and again, Brittany Griner kind of standing back at 6'8", those long arms. But yes, Yoshida can go by you, but she makes an easy pass inside.
Locked at 14 in a very entertaining first quarter. Charles has got a lot of stuff, not that time. One and done for the United States.
And this is exactly what they did against Australia. They had a 16-point lead against them and thought they were going to be giant killers then. Ended up losing that game, but what a victory it would be if they could beat the United States.
Bird in transition. Boy, Japan, they can get back defensively. You do a nice job here. Yoshida knocking it away from Bird, and the U.S. left with 19 to shoot. And for the first time, Sylvia fouls in for Brittany Griner.
When you're a team that likes to run, you know how to get back on transition defense. And we've talked earlier when we had an opportunity to watch Japan play that they play that up-tempo game and run as much as they can. And Paul Westhead, the Corey Gaines fast break.
Diana Taurasi lacing the three for the U.S. And again, explain the Japan style and the fact that it's rooted in Paul Westhead and Corey Gaines.
Tom Hovias played with Corey Gaines over in Japan, and Corey Gaines is part Japanese, and he played over there and has coached over there. And Takashiki with a nice outside shot for Japan.
Hey, are we having fun or what?
Oh my gosh, yes. Well, actually also when Corey Gaines was the head coach with the Phoenix Mercury, the Japanese team came over and for 3 years in a row were able to understand what the WNBA was all about. They also had Yuko Oga in 2008, who played for the Phoenix Mercury. She was the second Japanese player to play, and Takashiki is the third to play in the WNBA. She's up in Seattle with Sue Bird and Brianna Stewart. And that fast break stuff, though, you've got to have the mindset. You've got to want to run. You've got to continue to do it by the end of the game, and it's not always easy, but they know everybody's got a position. It's kind of frantic out there, but they know exactly where they're going. They're running a lot of sets. And there on the left, Kiki Vandeweghe, works with the NBA, UCLA alum, Bruin.
Okay, we get it.
I had to throw it in there.
Where she won college championship with UCLA. And Myers Drysdale, the Hall of Famer. Medalist in 1976, the first ever U.S. women's Olympic basketball team. We should mention Lindsay Whalen on the floor for the first time for Bird. Charles, who could be troublesome for anybody in the low post.
Great shot. And look at how quickly they get the ball down. But Maya Moore right there to catch it.
more. Just a brilliant two-way performance in the Olympics so far. Whale and unfinished business. Charles, not once but twice.
And that's where Japan is really going to have a difficult time against the United States. The United States just so strong on the boards. Nice pass. Well, Sylvia Fowles called with the foul, and as a matter of fact, 1976, and you'll see the drive right there and the block shot, but she gets called for the foul. In 1976, the very first game of women's basketball was against Japan and the United States, and I talked to Julian Simpson, who was our point guard and captain, and she was saying, you know, Japan got the tip, and I fouled them because they had a chance to score, and I wasn't going to let them have the first basket of the history of women's basketball in the Olympics, and so she fouled them, and we got the ball back on a steal, and Lucia Harris, our center from Delta State, a great player, and she was the first woman to score the very first basket in the Olympics for the United States.
Wow, great story.
Yeah, Lucia Harris, we've had some great centers for the United States, and also for guard positions. And now the wings have just really kind of dominated for the United States on women's basketball.
Yuka Mamiya checking out, number 8. Maki Takata into the game for the first time. Sylvia Fowles made a mistake earlier. She had to put back moments ago. Another layup for Sylvia. And the U.S. leading by 7 under 3 minutes to play here in the first.
Yeah, all Olympics we've been talking about the bench play of the United States, and they go so deep, 12 deep, and everybody is a starter on their WNBA team.
There was fouls off the miss by Motokawa.
Oh, nice dribble by Lindsay Whalen.
A member of the Minnesota Lynx.
Lindsay Whalen just snaking off that pick by Tina Charles.
Suddenly the U.S. by 9. 2 and change to play here in the first.
Well, and it's been the defense. I mean, Japan can knock down some unbelievable shots, but they come up with the rebound and off to the races the United States is.
Nice play inside to knock it away by Takata. In the meantime, the U.S. on a 13-4 push. Thinking about a 3, Kurihara. There it is, and down it goes.
Yeah, about Kurihara having Diana Taurasi run right by her and said, okay, just keep running. I'm going to take my time and take this shot.
She is Japan's second leading scorer in the Olympics, averaging just under 13. Taurasi lacing another 3. Diana Taurasi, her second 3 of this first quarter, and the 4th for the United States. Match their largest lead at 9.
Oh, good weak side help by Tina Charles, and Japan does such a great job running those screens, and that was another key coming into this game as we talked to Doug Bruno from DePaul, an assistant coach, his second time with Gino Auriemma coming around, and he was saying they just run everybody off these screens, and sometimes it's that weak side stuff you can't give up. Even though you think it's going to be a ball side, it's all that weak side stuff that you got to continue to really be aware of where those screens are coming from.
Leda Deladon, Angel McCautry, Simone Augustus, all off of Gino Auriemma's bench, and this is really what separates the United States from all the other teams, their extraordinary depth.
And the size they have.
Talk about size. The 5'3" Rui Machida now on the floor, quarterbacking Japan. A lot of talent, a lot of winning. This 12-player roster for the United States.
Well, it's amazing, and you look at those numbers, and you've got 10 players that have played in the Olympics that have an NCAA championship, a WNBA title, and an Olympic gold. But you think that there's 8 #1 picks out there, and some of them, why weren't they #1 picks? Well, there was somebody else out there that was a little higher above them.
Tough shot by Ramu Takashiki. Her 3rd bucket. She's got 6 under a minute to play here in a brisk first quarter. Augustus at her first touch, 1 and done. Japan, they love to push it. They'll look for 2 possessions for 1 here as we close out the first quarter.
Well, they do such a great job spreading the floor down on a break situation, and then the middle is wide open. Elena Deladon, as a matter of fact, was a #2 pick. Sylvia Fowles was a #3 pick.
And that's a tough 2 against a very good defensive player.
And #1 was Brittany Griner that year.
High degree of difficulty there for Kaide Kondo, one of 3 players in the squad who did not play on the Japan team that won the FIBA Asia Championship. That's why Japan is here. Angel McCautry, it would have counted, and she'll help herself to 2.
Elena Deladon coming into the game, and she was the number 2 pick for the Chicago Sky. Candace Parker was the number 1 pick that year, and Angel McCautry coming up with a big rebound for the United States.
McCautry, part of a U.S. bench, averaging over 51 points per game. That is nearly half of the 104 the United States has averaged so far in first 5 games.
Actually, Parker and Griner came out at the same time.
Oh, they did?
Fowles and Deladon. I don't know. I got to get my numbers right. I know I'm messing up. Everybody on social media is going to get after me.
That's all right. I got your back. Shot clock here is unplugged. Japan holding for 1. United States does not have a foul to give. Machida giving it up. Takada in traffic, and that'll do it.
Yeah, they did a nice job keeping Takashiki out of the offense with only a couple baskets.
United States hitting 12 of 23 attempts. They had 4 threes, and they put 30 on Japan after 10 minutes. 1 quarter complete. In Carioca Arena, the U.S. 30, Japan 23 in a knockout game. Second quarter actions coming up. Getting set for the start of the second quarter, and the U.S. leading Japan 30-23. A terrific first quarter for Maya Moore. She had a dozen.
Yeah, Maya Moore playing 8.5 minutes, was 4 of 6 from the floor, 2 of 2 from 3-point range. Just really calm, typical of what she does with the Minnesota Lynx. And one of the things coming in that Doug Bruno talked about before the game with us is that how important this team really knows what it means to win the gold medal. They are so focused. They've had a couple days off, but they've also been practicing, and it's been very efficient.
Along with Ann Myers-Drysdale, Kareth Burke, Mark Sumoff. Second quarter underway. U.S. and Japan. Winner continues on to the semifinal game, taking on the winner of France-Canada coming up. Mika Kurihara striking from beyond the arc.
Yeah, Kurihara with a nice outside shot. How quickly she gets her shot off.
She is 3 of 3 from beyond for all 9 of her points. Japan, they could strike quickly. That's a great look inside. McCautry finding Elena Deladon.
Now you can just see the heads-up play, too, by the United States. They're looking for passes.
Kurihara again. Her first miss after hitting her first 3 from beyond the arc. Simone Augustus fouls. Her Minnesota Lynx teammate had her back.
I like that the United States is also pushing the basketball. They're getting quick shots, and they know that they can dominate the boards.
Foul shooting 73% for the tournament. Takada. And a 2-shot foul coming up.
Well, you got to love how Japan continues to go inside. The Deladon coming up, which looked like a block shot. They're going to call a foul on Angel McCautry, but Sylvia Fowles being very active underneath for the United States on the boards.
And you might expect that from Sylvia. Historically an excellent rebounder in her WNBA career.
You know, you talked about that loss against France. If they had won by 12 points or more, they might have gotten the second position. And so it was only an 8-point game, even though they won it, and they got the number 4 seed. And talked to the coaches, and they were saying, we love being here. The fact that we are in the final 8, but would have loved to have moved up and not had to play the juggernaut of the United States.
Japan, some pressure. Simone Augustus, an excellent ball handler, helping out Lindsay Whalen. McCautry got it. Angel McCautry playing about 17 minutes per game. And again, Gino Auriemma has to spread the allotted time available among 12 great players, and he's done an excellent job at that. And that's going to be a moving screen. Boy, Lindsay Whalen was wiped out.
Yeah, Yuka Mamamiya turning her back and going right into Whalen.
And Whalen selling the call as well. Let's go back to Kareth.
Well, while Simone Augustus is in Rio, she's sending prayers to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. That's her hometown, and it's a hard-hit area in the devastating floods affecting Louisiana right now. Augustus told the Star Tribune that her parents had to be evacuated. They needed help from a boat to leave, but her parents are safe. She said she wouldn't have played in the last game if she didn't talk to them. Augustus also posted a powerful message about Baton Rouge on Instagram saying, quote, "Funny how things work. We've been having our struggles trying to come together in the communities, law enforcement, politicians, etc. Now we have no other choice but to help, protect, serve, and shelter one another." Mark?
Kareth, we thank you so much. Certainly not easy for Simone to turn her thoughts away from her home state or hometown. In the meantime, she had a nice assist moments ago, and then Angel McCautry running the floor. Nice little burst here by the United States to lead it by a dozen points now for the first time. A 10-2 run for the U.S.
Now the United States looking for that challenge, and really Japan kind of bringing out the beast of the United States. And if they want to run, we'll run right with you. And the United States really picked up the speed and the heat against the Japanese, attacking inside and getting rebounds, as they already have 18 rebounds, the United States, 8 on the offensive glass. And they're shooting 59% from the floor, 13 of 22. We always talk about those assists. They've got 8 assists of those 13 field goals.
The United States, a 43-point win over China. They beat Canada by 30. Serbia by 26. Spain by 40. Senegal by 65. The 65-point spread, a U.S. Olympic record. They also had 121 points in that game. And they welcome the fact that Japan wants to play fast. They've already put 40 points up on the board, and we are still relatively early in the second quarter. By the way, Sue Bird returning a few moments ago. Diana Taurasi now joining her in the backcourt. Angel McCautry, a very good defensive player who is certainly very capable of scoring. 29-year-old, born and raised in Baltimore. Lena Deladon taking advantage of a mismatch moments ago to get 2 inside, and now Japan has it out of the timeout. The starting point guard, Asami Yoshida, is back into the game, number 12.
And the United States don't feel that they are going to be caught in a defensive position with their switches because of their length, their athleticism, their size.
Number 11, Moyeko Nakaoke, in for the first time. Simone Augustus in charge of her. Takashiki has Taurasi in a mismatch. Yoshida tries to get it to her. Fouls in there to snuff it out. Taurasi, why not? Missing the 3, and Takashiki has it for Japan. Yoshida always with her head up. That is for 3, and down it goes. That's terrific ball movement, and Kondo is able to provide 3 more for Japan. Kaede Kondo hitting the 5th 3 of the game in 9 tries. Deladon knocked to the floor by Ramu Takashiki.
And there's always that thought too with this United States team, and certainly Gino Auriemma does not want to work them too hard, in the sense they know that they are in season with the WNBA right now, and you don't want to have one of these American women players get hurt at this time during their season.
Well, we were talking, you mentioned earlier, with assistant coach Doug Bruno describing the scene last year, 2012 London. The U.S. wins the gold, and 2 days later he sees players getting on the elevator knowing that they're going to be playing their WNBA season as soon as they get back.
There's such a camaraderie and such closeness. How about Yoshida with the steal, and Sue Bird comes up limping a little bit.
Moore tracking her. The hard foul delivered by Maya Moore on Asami Yoshida.
Now, Sue Bird has had some major injuries in her career, and this is the first time she's felt healthy in a couple of years. And Maya Moore running that down with the block and the foul.
And Bird limping to the bench.
Now, she has had some knee surgeries in the past.
5 of them on one knee, the left knee, to be precise. Had hip surgery as well that caused her to reassess things after the World Championships in 2014, and she had the Olympics in the back of her mind, and that got her out of bed every morning, and now she's back at it.
Yeah, and she said she also heard Charles Barkley talking to an NBA player, and this guy was trying to come back from an injury and he was a little bit older, and Charles said, well, that year's never as good as the other year, and so you ought to retire. And Sue kind of took that to heart and said, I want to have a better year. And she has been having a great year with the Seattle Storm.
3 on the way from Deladon, and she drops it. Consider her versatility at 6'5", the ability to go beyond the arc and knock it down. U.S. by 11. Nagaoke considerably short. Charles unleashing Whalen. Lindsay Whalen. Boy, Japan, they do not let up. Always looking to run. Yoshida always with her head up. And Charles claiming, and in fact, the official agrees, it was last touched on the play by Yuka Mamiya.
Well, you know you're going to get turnovers with Yoshida at the point guard, number 12, the captain for Japan. And but she makes things run. And their game against Australia, she had 11 assists, but she had the 5 turnovers. But she makes, and when you run this kind of offense too, you're going to have turnovers.
Deladon attempting a rather healthy 3.
And that was an opportunity for Deladon not to follow her shot because of how quickly Japan gets back, and the guards had not rotated back yet. But I love players that follow the shot.
That's a nice look inside by Kondo, finding Yuka Mamiya.
And Mamiya was held scoreless against France. A couple players for Japan, and they knew that everybody has to contribute against the United States because they're so strong.
Well, she's got 6 in this game. Team separated by 9. Charles surrounded. Whalen going for the miss. She's plowed over, looking for the call. And it will belong to Japan. Sue Bird. We'll try to see what happened to her a few moments ago. And shortly after this play, ended up limping off the floor. In the meantime, the other end of the floor, Yuka Mamiya striking again, give her 8. And Japan hanging right with the U.S., trailing by 7, about 4.5 to go in the first half. Tarasi for 3, and she's fouled. Kaede Kondo fouling her, the chance for the 4-point play for Diana Taurasi.
Now Taurasi getting it in the corner, hitting her 3rd 3-pointer, and looking to get those fouls, and just the emotion. And one of the things that not only Doug Bruno, but all the coaches for the United States has talked about Diana Taurasi's leadership, along with Tamika Catchings and Sue Bird. They don't have to do anything out on the floor. Just their presence and how they make everybody feel that they are part of the team, and they get everybody else involved. But Taurasi is just such a deadly killer.
Unable to convert 4-point play, nonetheless, adding the 3 threes in this game to her 58, now an Olympic record for the United States, 61. In fact, it is an Olympic record overall. Brianna Stewart into the game for the first time, number 9. Her first Olympic Games. The Yukon great, of course. 4-time champion there. Whalen, 4 to shoot. Good defense that time by Japan off the ball.
Yeah, Whalen hit that first shot, and then she has struggled with the last 2. But you're going to have good balance shot selections from the United States.
To tie up inside, Stewart in a tangle with Yuka Mamiya.
Yeah, Stewart off the bench has really been solid for the United States, averaging over 10 points. She had a high where she had 17 points against Serbia, and there you look in the stands and you see the men's team supporting the women out on the ship together. They've gotten to be pretty close.
And the men getting set to take on Argentina in the knockout round. Angel McCautry is in. Takashiki against Charles. Tough shot.
You know, they want her to shoot the ball. She'll get 20 shots a game. And but she's feeling that there's a lot of contact out there.
A reminder that tomorrow the U.S. men facing Argentina, as mentioned in the quarterfinals. It was Argentina that last beat the Americans in Olympic competition back in 2004 in Athens. It marked a low point for the U.S. men's basketball team. NBCOlympics.com has chronicled that in a fascinating oral history. You can find it at NBCOlympics.com/basketball. Carmelo Anthony.
Kurihara with a nice outside shot for Japan, and they've cut the lead to 7.
Yoshida, that's for 3, and boy, they are tough. Another 3, their 7th, and 11 tries for Japan, and it's suddenly a 4-point game.
Well, coming in for Japan, they said we cannot look at the numbers or the names for the United States. We have to play our game.
A tangle here between Yoshida and Stewart. It's going to be the 4th team foul on Japan, so they are at the team foul limit after this. The United States will be shooting. We have a timeout, just under 2.5 to go. First half, very entertaining from Karaoke Arena 1 here in Olympic Park. Japan playing high energy, small ball, and staying right with the United States, trailing by just 4 points.
Well, certainly for the United States, they know they're in a game. I mean, Japan is not going to back down, and this is the closest an opponent has really played them at this point of the game. And they did have that big run, the United States, but you know, this is a Japanese team. They're going to be very focused on what they want to accomplish, and they've always been good outside shooters.
Well, in the meantime, we've already had an upset and a near upset. This was the upset. It was game 1, Serbia beating the number 2 team in the world, Australia.
Yeah, Australia really struggled in these Olympics, and Cambage at her size, at 6'8", they want to go inside her. She did not get the ball at the end, and Serbia with that huge win, and just heartbreaking for the Australian Opals. And but then on the other side, Turkey had a big lead. Spain came back, and Turkey makes this shot
to tie it up. Yep.
And Sanders was all over the place, and then Cruz with a buzzer beater.
So Spain averting the upset at the hands of Turkey. Again, the buzzer-beating game winner by Anna Cruz, and Serbia beating Australia, and the Aussies now going home.
And before this game, the United States did watch that Australia game.
Stewart nicking the rim on the attempted 3.
So in the back of their mind, they know that they have to play better. No matter how good Japan's going to play, they still have to play better. Nice back door.
Indeed. Great delivery in the finish by Takashiki. And now it's a 2-point affair.
Now Motokawa with a nice heads-up play.
8 unanswered for Japan. Again, keep in mind in their first 5 games all wins, the U.S. beating their opponent by an average of 45 points per game. Angel McCautry drilling it for the U.S.
Well, what Japan does too on defense, they just swarm you. They never stop moving on the defensive end either. And Angel McCautry was kind of looking at the refs saying, hey, I got bumped. But in this game, in the Olympics, internationally, you got to go. They're not going to call it. You just better get back on defense because Japan is just pushing the ball. And I love the style and the demeanor that Japan has. They go out there and play hard. They're not going to complain about anything.
One speed. They play at one speed. McCautry, by the way, the foul. It is her first. Maya Moore, the only U.S. player with 2 fouls. That's a brilliant look by Yoshida to Ramu Takashiki in what is now a 2-point affair under 90 seconds to play first half.
And that's one of the things we mentioned early in the first half was that Japan runs these pick and rolls, they run these screens, and you've got to be aware of it, and you've got to talk on defense.
McCautry is fouled en route to the hoop.
Well, all these United States players are capable of scoring over 30 points. And Angel McCautry gets herself to the free throw line on that one. And then the nice back door. Both players for the United States got caught up high and nobody helping down low.
Japan playing a good game in that they are not putting the U.S. at the line. Only their 7th free throw coming up.
Yeah, and that's been one thing that the United States has dominated on, getting to the line because they're so physical. Tina Charles, nice rebound.
Taurasi for 3, and give half a point to Tina Charles as Taurasi buries another one from beyond. A little more breathing room for the U.S. up 6 under a minute to play.
Yeah, just a great hustle play. 23 rebounds with 9 on the offensive end for the United States.
And the 4th 3 of the first half for Diana Taurasi, who's got a dozen. Mamiya missing, and now an opportunity for the U.S. to get 2 possessions for 1. Simone Augustus, a brilliant middle distance shooter, Exhibit A. U.S. certainly with a lot of firepower as well, and suddenly a little burst here to put them up 8. They should be getting a final look here.
And they've done it with Maya Moore on the bench. Maya Moore had 12 early first half points, and Takashiki missing that shot.
Now the shot clock is unplugged.
She's had some good shots. They haven't fallen for her.
Augustus again. Got it! Simone Augustus drilling jumpers on consecutive possessions. That one putting an exclamation point on the first half. Boy, an 11-point lead, twice cut to 2, but the U.S. finishes the half on an 8-0 outburst to lead by 10 here at the break.
Talked about bench play for the United States and how good they all are, not only coming off the bench, but creating shots.
It is the knockout round. The winner going to the semifinals. The loser going home. Japan putting up a great fight, but the United States with a 10-point advantage at the break, 56-46. More of our coverage coming up. Stay with us.
Today's game is brought to you with limited commercial interruption by Enterprise. Rent, buy, or share. We'll pick you up.
Well, surprise, surprise, the U.S. women's basketball team locked in a competitive game. Japan cut the lead to 2 before the Americans went back up by 10 at halftime thanks to an 8-0 run to close out the half. Dramatic finish in the quarterfinals. It was Spain against Turkey, less than 10 seconds to go. Laura Sanders. Turkey has tied the game up, 4 seconds to go. Anna Cruz trying to beat the buzzer, and does. Got it off in time. Cruz with 10 points in the fourth quarter. Spain moving into the semis. They take on Serbia. Spain has never won a medal in women's basketball. Great finish. So Spain on to the semis, where they will play Serbia, who upset previously unbeaten Australia earlier today. On the other side of the bracket, France plays Canada later tonight, and they will face the winner of the U.S.-Japan game in the semis. Speaking of which, with that game, joining us now to discuss the first half of U.S.-Japan, our Olympic basketball analyst, two-time Olympic champion, Swin Cash. How surprised are you, Swin?
Not surprised at all. Just speaking with some of the girls earlier today, it was evident that watching Australia go down to Serbia, they were going to come in this game focused with the understanding that Japan is a team that will not quit. They're going to play hard for 40 minutes. They're going to be very scrappy. So when you saw Japan tie the game up, immediately the USA took it to another level, and I expect more of that in the second half.
All right, handicap the rest of the field here. Let's assume the United States moves on. What's the competition going to be like?
Well, we understand that the USA is pretty much heads and tail above the rest of the field. But you look at teams like Serbia and how they play, where they spread the floor, they attack the lanes. Defensively, they were second throughout the tournament in steals. They make you turn the ball over. They made Australia turn the ball over 26 times today. So they are a team that can probably hang around the U.S. for a while. But the problem is, Dan, is that the U.S. has so much depth. Even when teams can hang around in the first half or even for a quarter, they can take it to another level. So I think the majority of the field is looking at this as the USA is going to have gold and that everyone else is playing for silver and bronze.
Sue Bird going out with the injury. We do not know the extent of that. What could that mean short-term, long-term for Team USA?
Well, Sue is the floor leader. She is the vocal leader out there on the floor, but she's also the captain. And I've known Sue Bird for a really long time, won championships with her. And unless it's an injury that means she's not playing the rest of this Olympics, I would expect to see Sue Bird back there, out there on the floor. She just brings a certain presence and a demeanor that really carries this USA team to the next level.
Team USA up by 10 at the break. Swin, always great to talk to you. Talk to you soon. Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
There were more penalty kick drama in women's soccer today. We'll have the highlights of the semifinal action when we come back here in Rio.
The games of the 31st Olympiad on NBCSN are brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'. By Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. By the all-new versatile Honda Ridgeline. And by Comcast.
Jacinia has it saved by Lindahl to her right-hand side. Barbara on her line. For the second time in 4 days, Dahlqvist with the penalty to send Sweden through and to send the hopes out. And she scored! Sweden are into the gold medal match. The host Brazil are out at the semi-finals.
Thirty-year-old Melanie Berenger strikes Germany to the early lead in this semifinal. As we watch Germany and Canada in the semis, that shot from distance is in! The Germans double the lead.
Those results mean this. Sweden plays Germany in the gold medal game on Friday at Maracana. Brazil and Canada will meet for the bronzes. Brazil will remain without a gold medal in women's soccer. Coming up in primetime on NBC, Simone Biles goes for a U.S. record 4th gold in Rio on the floor exercise. At the beach, Kerry Walsh-Jennings and April Ross play for a spot in the gold medal final. In basketball, the U.S. women leading Japan by 10. Second half coming up. It got a bit dicey at times as Japan cut the lead to 2, but thanks in large part to Diana Taurasi, the Americans have a 10-point edge at halftime. Second half from Karaoke Arena is next.
Today's game is brought to you with limited commercial interruption by Enterprise. Rent, buy, or share. We'll pick you up.
Karaoke Arena here at Olympic Park, the knockout stage, women's basketball, the U.S. 56, Japan 46, getting set for the start of the third quarter. Annie, the U.S. up 10 on the scoreboard, plus 10 in rebounding, points in the paint. Otherwise, both teams shot the lights out in the first half.
Yeah, the United States gave up 50% to Japan, and Japan 7-11 from three-point range. And I think that the United States really struggling on the defensive end because 64% from three-point range for Japan is not something they normally do. But they are knocking down shots left and right, and they've come up with 4 steals against the United States too. The thing is, the United States missing free throws. Maya Moore, I thought, was strong early in the game, and she was hitting some big shots. Elena Daladon came off the bench, had some nice play. Certainly Taurasi knocking down her threes, but 4 free throws missed by the United States, and they don't have any blocks. We saw Griner start the game and only played about 5 minutes, and so we'll have to see if defensively they can create anything inside.
U.S. inside, getting offensive rebound, second chance points. Sue Bird was hurt in the first half as we turn things back to Kareth Burke.
Well, certainly Sue Bird not starting. You hope that that knee is okay, and I'm sure that there's a lot of emotion going through her head that not only is she okay to play again, but certainly would love to be out there with her teammates.
And now let's go to Kareth Burke.
Thank you, Mark. An update on Sue Bird from halftime. A Team USA spokesperson said, wait and see about whether Bird will play in the second half. But I did notice Sue Bird leading the team through the tunnel at halftime, taking them back on the court. One more note from Doug Bruno. I asked him, how can Team USA put Japan away in this game? He says, we have to do a better job defending the three. And on our side, Team USA needs to take better shots. We need to go for the open layups instead of looking for that 3-ball to start the second half. Mark?
Well, with Kareth Burke and Ann Myers-Drysdale, Mark Zumoff here at Karaoke Arena as we start the third quarter with a traveling violation on Brittany Griner.
And that's one of the things Gino Arias has talked about this team. We've got to have good shot selections. You can't just jack it up there. And certainly, even though the United States dominated the paint 24-14 plus 10, they have got to do a better job getting deep in the paint.
Griner off the miss by Yuka Mamiya.
Well, I think the big thing, too, is fast break points. Japan dominated 10-4, which is the first time the United States has gotten beaten on fast break points in this tournament so far in the Olympics.
Simone Augustus starting for Sue Bird. That's Griner, the floorboard off the miss 3.
Now, even though the United States wants to run and they can get caught up in that running game, they need to control the tempo of the game.
Boy, Griner knocked to the floor by Mamiya. Play continues. Japan on the break, and they are able to finish. Compliments of Sanae Morikawa.
Yeah, the United States looking so much inside deep, and now another turnover.
Again, they go to Griner, and off of her fingertips and out of bounds.
Usually the United States is the team forcing turnovers against their opponents. We have talked about the relationship of this team, the United States, the connection, the chemistry, and Maya Moore looking to get the steal, stepping in. But a lot of times, even though they play together, the chemistry and the spacing and the timing still isn't quite there. And give credit to Japan kind of disrupting the United States.
Well, these players playing in the WNBA season, then they go to this, then they go back to that season. Japan, they've had a long time to play together.
And they're certainly getting ready for the 2020 Olympics.
Brittany Griner with a final word for Asami Yoshida.
That's the first block of the game for the United States. And it's a good one. Brittany Griner's also learning, too, to keep the ball in play to try and come up with that ball. Oh, great drive.
And finished with a left hand by Morikawa.
Morikawa just getting Maya Moore off the baseline.
11 for Morikawa. U.S. lead is down to 6. The U.S. in a fight with Japan after dominating the first 5 games. Maya Moore, who was marvelous early on, delivering once again from beyond the arc, where she is 3 of 3, give her 15 points.
You see the weaves by Japan. They're just moving. Constant motion. They play with such passion.
Taurasi right now in a fight down low with Mamiya. There it is. Mamiya rebounding her own miss. Yoshida thinking about a 3. And that's Griner off the miss.
Yeah, Yoshida only took 1 shot in that first half, and it was a big-time shot. Oh, good defense by Kurihara.
Yep, coming in and getting the interception. Yoshida. Pass was behind Mamiya. Moore. Beautiful move by Maya Moore around Ramu Takashiki.
And a beautiful shot to use the glass.
Boy, Japan, they don't let up. Even after the made field goal, they're running down the floor.
Well, and that's what makes them so tough, and it's so much fun to watch. I mean, they go, and again, it's a mindset. You can get your own fast break going, but then you've got to switch it to transition defense. And the United States a little slow getting back, but Augustus had the presence of mind to get that hand up. Motokawa just constantly moving.
Yoshida against the taller Tina Charles, can't get it off.
They won't let the shot clock run down too often.
Griner off the miss by Yuka Mamiya. Taurasi, another 3, and down it goes for Diana Taurasi. Her 5th 3 of the game in 7 tries.
The 3rd time in the Olympic Games that she's hit 5 threes.
8 unanswered for the United States. And now they lead by 14 points for the first time. Ball tipped out of bounds by Asami Yoshida. Diana Taurasi continues to add to her Olympic record for 3-pointers. Total of 63 in her Olympic career. Griner wants it down low, and she scores it on Takashiki.
Yeah, Takashiki at 6'3", 25 years old. Both young players at 25, and Griner taking advantage of her 6'8" height and those long arms of her.
The United States accepting the challenge from this pesky, energetic Japanese team, bolting now to the 16-point advantage. And Japan there with the unforced turnover. Boy, Tina Charles has been great, dropping beautiful passes on other big players in low, whether it's Sylvia Fowles or Brittany Griner, as we have an offensive foul being called here.
Well, Diana Taurasi getting called for being overly aggressive on the offensive end, and Gino Auriemma just pursing his lips and he says something to Diana Taurasi there. And Taurasi having to take over the point guard position with Sue Bird on the bench, and you've got Simone Augustus and Maya Moore able to handle the ball also.
That's an ongoing conversation, by the way, between those two. It's been going on for years.
And it won't stop.
Charles locking on to Yoshida on the switch. And a drive and a foul. And the claim here is that Motokawa extended the forearm and committed the offensive foul, but the official thinking otherwise.
Motokawa, the last 2 games, 29 points, 12 and 17, and getting herself involved in the offense in this game.
Brittany Griner to the bench. Sylvia Fowles, first time in the second half. 2 at the line for Sanae Motokawa.
First time she's at the line, but she's 5 of 8 from the floor. 1 of 4 from 3-point range, so she's got 11 points for Japan.
Maya Moore now giving way to Lindsay Whalen, so Taurasi now probably swinging to the off-guard spot. Whalen an opportunity to handle the basketball. Moore's 3rd foul, by the way. The 3rd U.S. player to pick up as many as 3. No Japanese player has more than 2. And here is an 87% free throw shooter, Motokawa. That's 4th best in the Olympics.
Way to go.
Yep.
You did it, Mark. Never fails.
Yep.
Can be proud of that, right?
I guess. Oh, yeah.
Another offensive foul.
Yep. Okay, partner, what do you see? They call that foul on Sylvia Fowles.
Well, the United States trying to get position inside so much they've come up with a couple offensive fouls. Oh, they'll call it travel on that.
Yep. Walking violation on Sanae Motokawa.
Well, you can understand too when you've got Tina Charles standing in front of you, and sometimes you hesitate and you'll make some mistakes and you travel. And you see the encouragement by the United States bench trying to keep the players out there on the floor engaged.
9th turnover for Japan. Boy, Fowles and Takashiki battling for position. Simone Augustus taking matters into her own capable hands.
Yeah, Augustus now 6 points, 3 of 6 from the floor.
And the U.S. up 17, a little more than 4.5 to go in the third. The United States clearly making a statement here in the third quarter with their starting point guard on the bench, Sue Bird. Takashiki
has been very quiet.
U.S. out rebounding Japan 31-18. Tarasi adding 2 more to her total, and Japan getting a timeout. The United States now with its largest lead at 19 points. A 14-1 outburst by the U.S. to lead it 70-51. Diana Taurasi, the leading scorer for the United States in the tournament, averaging over 17 in this game, along with Maya Moore combining for 34 of the 70 scored by the U.S. in this game.
And Gino Auriemma told us before the Olympics started that he wanted to see more three-point shots taken by this Olympic team, and the one person that's doing it is Diana Taurasi. In her 4th Olympics, she's 4 of 5 from three-point range. She's gotten herself in good position, setting up. Her teammates are finding her, and there's just something about this fight that she loves. And Gino Auriemma told us after one of the games for the Olympics that when she gets hit, she hits back. And those are the kinds she kind of gets more involved with. And there you see her parents in the crowd in the red, Liliana and Mario.
I would imagine they'll stick around for Argentina and U.S. and the men's game.
Well, I'm
right?
sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure, absolutely. And her father from Argentina and her mother speaking lots of Italian to Gino Auriemma with a lot of glasses of wine. Just a great relationship. And how quickly the United States just turned the heat up.
Well, when it gets hot, you start cooking. Their favorite play here, Yoshida and Takashiki working the pick and roll, and off of it, they're able to spot Maki Takada, and she buries the jump shot. And for Takada, the first bucket, she's got 4, and that was an important bucket for Japan, with the United States really on a nice spurt here. Lena Deladon, first time in the second half for her, number 11. University of Delaware product and the reigning MVP in the WNBA. What a luxury to have her and her versatility coming off the bench.
Well, you know, she really wants to play well in this game after having to sit out with that eye injury in the last game.
Takashiki on the move, and the foul on the floor.
Now that's one of the switches. Sylvia Fowles getting caught up a little bit too high, but Elena Deladon just rising over the defense, and you know, size-wise, that's an advantage certainly for the United States.
Fowles picking up her 3rd. So Fowles and Maya Moore, who is on the bench, each with 3. Whalen escorting the Takashiki miss out of bounds.
Takashiki struggled. She's 5 of 10 shooting 50%, but for her, she's struggled with some easy shots. She only also has 3 rebounds.
Playing about 36 minutes a game, Takashiki. She averages 18 a game. Taurasi again. That was for 2 for Diana Taurasi, who buries it. The U.S. leading by 21 points. Their largest lead of the game so far.
Now, Tamika Catchings comes into the game and gives an assist to Diana Taurasi. Now 16 assists for the United States. And Taurasi just setting herself up, gets inside position, using those screens. And in her size, 6 foot, you don't get to see her post up as much, but she is terrific at doing that.
She takes a break with her 19 points in a 23-minute run so far. Angel McCautry on for the first time. Takashiki against Tamika Catchings, who is on the floor for the first time. The 37-year-old, the oldest player on the U.S. squad. Our final go-round, our final Olympics.
This is a defensive squad in for the United States with Whalen, McCautry, Catchings, and Augustus. And you've got Deladon playing that post position.
Lindsay Whalen, all cotton for her.
We talk so much about the versatility of Elena Deladon playing a lot of different positions, but all these players that are out there for the United States looking to play some defense.
Elena Deladon called for the foul here. The U.S. is in the penalty, so some free throws coming up for Japan. With 2:01 to play here in the third, and the United States making a big-time statement. They were up 10 at intermission. Japan giving them a terrific game until this third quarter. In fact, Japan made their first 2 buckets of the half, and excluding that free throw, a 20-3 outburst by the U.S. since then. Takashiki with a dozen. Deladon clearly with the height advantage here on Kaede Kondo, only 5'8". Deladon going about 6'5". She is fouled. Japan does have some fouls to give here, only their second team foul.
Yeah, Kondo at 24 years old, 5'8", as you said, was surprised that she made the team, but certainly very happy.
And again, no 1 foul in the last 2 minutes. They indeed have a couple more fouls to give before the penalty. In the meantime, Simone Augustus got the start here for Sue Bird to begin this second half, lacing 2 more.
The United States shooting 62% in this second half.
8 for Augustus. Gliding inside and scoring, Maki Takata.
The United States in this third quarter has done a much better job controlling the tempo and slowing Japan down. Tough pass inside the Catchings.
And they're making shots. Presumably that makes it a little harder for Japan to run.
Oh, nice pass.
Indeed. Yoshida connecting with Takashiki.
Well, that was the 9th turnover for the United States, and Japan has taken advantage of those turnovers in this game.
Under a minute now remaining here in the third. Catchings drills the 3. Tamika Catchings embracing her role as one of the tri-captains, and again the oldest on the team, playing in her 4th Olympics.
Now, if the United States can get to that gold medal round and win it, she would be the oldest Olympian, United States or any other country, to win a gold medal.
Somebody's got to shoot for Japan. Takata with a hot potato, and Catching secures it for the U.S. Shot clock is unplugged.
That's the first time Japan has had to go down to the shot clock, and that shows you how the defense is picked up in this third quarter for the United States.
Whalen bumped and fouled. Again, Japan still with yet another foul to give, but only 2.5 to go here in the third. And Gino Auriemma getting Brittany Griner into the game. Perhaps he is thinking lob here.
And the only other team so far in this Olympic tournament, Canada, has held the United States under 100 points, where they won that game 81-51.
There it is for Griner, makes the catch. McCautry unable to put it back. But the U.S. behind, among others, Diana Taurasi making serious inroads in that third quarter, outscoring Japan 25-13. And they lead it 81-59 after 3, shooting 11 of 13 in that third quarter. The score after 3, the United States 81 and Japan 59. We go from Karaoke Arena now to the studio as we call in Liam McHugh.
Guys, thanks so much. Time right now to quickly catch you up on what has been a rather difficult day for Brazil. Their women's soccer team dropped a semifinal heartbreaker to Sweden. The men's water polo team lost to Croatia. And there was also an upset down at the beach. Favored to win gold on their home court, top-seeded Larissa and Talita were eliminated in straight sets by the fourth-seeded German team, Ludwig and Valkenhorst. Today at the beach, it was agony for Brazil, but it was ecstasy for the Germans, who celebrate and move on to the final. Now remember, later tonight, Kerry Walsh-Jennings and April Ross will look to book their spot in the gold medal match when they take on the other Brazilian duo, Agatha and Barbara. You can see that in primetime over on NBC. For now, though, let's go back to Mark, Annie, and Kareth.
Back here at Karaoke Arena as we prepare for the start of the fourth quarter. The U.S. looking to go 6-0. They need 8 wins here to secure themselves their 6th straight gold medal. And starting for Sue Bird in that third quarter was Simone Augustus.
Yeah, Simone Augustus coming into this game, averaging 5.6 points, but shooting 58% from the floor. And she continues the hot hand starting in the second half, as you said, for Sue Bird. And she's a starter on the Minnesota Lynx. Cheryl Reeve is one of the assistant coaches for Gino Auriemma, along with Dawn Staley and Doug Bruno. And this is a game that certainly Simone Augustus has got to be pleased with how she's contributed for the United States.
A prime example of the U.S. and their depth. In the meantime, Sue Bird yet to enter this game here in the second half. Fourth quarter now is underway. Japan with possession. The bread and butter play, the pick and roll. In for Takashiki, and there is Brittany Griner to deny her at the door.
And Gino Auriemma going back with the big, and Brittany Griner doesn't have to leave her feet. Puts the hand up and gets all ball. And Diana Taurasi, Brittany Griner played in Russia together this offseason and have been back in Phoenix for the last few years. And another defensive possession for the United States, forcing Japan to get the shot clock down.
And the shot clock violation after the missed shot. Here with the Hall of Famer Annie Myers-Drysdale, Kareth Burke, Mark Zumoff. We are courtside. The United States taking control in that third quarter. Maya Moore, another sterling performance by her. Lena Deladon, pretty move and finish as Maki Takata nailed to the floor off of that spin move by Deladon.
The United States 63% from the floor, 35 of 36, 56, and only 18 assists, their lowest assist total so far in the Olympics.
McCautry off the miss by Mika Kurihara.
Now this is an Olympic team the United States has just dominated scoring-wise, over 104 points, and see if they start heating it up in this fourth quarter.
Back door is open there. Maya Moore connecting to Angel McCautry, who is 4 of 5 for her 9 off the bench. Kondo missing, and the rebound to Deladon.
And certainly the United States has done a much better job in the second half on the defensive end and running those three-pointers off the line, and Japan has really struggled to get any kind of outside shots like they did in the first half.
And the hoops coming easy now for the U.S.
And also jogging the ball up the court for Japan, where even after made baskets early on in that first half, they were kicking it and going speedily down the court.
Yoshida working hard there against Angel McCautry as Griner cleans it up.
Yeah, Japan 5 of 21 from the floor. They have not hit a three. They've taken 4 this half. Nice move.
Yep, beautiful move by Griner. Again around Maki Takada. Gino Auriemma liking the way his team is playing and suddenly leading Japan by 30 points. This was a close game in the first half.
Oh, very close, and the nice pass inside, and Angel McCautry going down to help out, and her player kind of went off on Brittany Griner right there. It looked like they were going to help, but Brittany Griner with the quick spin move, coming up with 6 points so far for Griner.
Gino Auriemma at 62, the Naismith and Women's Basketball Hall of Famer, the first coach ever in Olympic history to coach the women.
Well, he started out at, before he got there, he was in several places, and Jim Foster at St. Joseph's, and Debbie Ryan in Virginia. Dawn Staley came later, but all those championships, undefeated seasons. And being the Olympic coach after 2012, he said, no, I'm not going to do it. Not going to do it. And he was burned out. There was a lot of pressure, a lot of stress. He's won 2 world championships. And Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi said, we're coming back. And he said, well, I guess I've got to come back then. They didn't talk him into it, but how do you not want to coach Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi?
Sue Bird yet to play here in the second half, but certainly very familiar with Gino Auriemma. Says his life is keeping great teams focused. They've had tremendous focus as they have romped in every game thus far. They win, and they'll have 2 more left to get their 6th consecutive gold medal. They'll play the winner of the game coming up next, France and Canada. Rui Machida into the game for the first time in the second half, rudely greeted by Brittany Griner.
Now, Griner had 8 blocks coming into this game, now with 11.
A 33-9 run by the U.S.
And that's what they hang their hat on. Just locking down on defense. And again, shot clock violation by Japan, which they have not had at all during this Olympic tournament.
And on the offensive end, Annie, remarkable shooting by the United States here in the second half.
15 of 17 for 88%. Unbelievable. And they're not all inside shots. You know, we thought Taurasi might get hot and break her record of 6 threes in a game. Nice pass inside.
McCautry dropping the dime on Maya Moore. Moore now with 17. Make it 19 for Moore to share U.S. scoring honors with Diana Taurasi as Griner has the miss by Takashiki.
Griner with 6 points and 7 rebounds.
Angel McCautry knocked to the floor. Good effort by Angel, and I think they're going to claim here she was in the act of shooting. Gino Auriemma, just remarkable stats, resume lines. And that UConn program, when he first took over, I mean, they weren't much to speak of in terms of their impact on women's basketball.
Carrie Baskin was a wonderful player to watch, and she was kind of the start of it. And then Rebecca Lobo came along and was player of the year and the first Connecticut player to make an Olympic team in 1996. She was just graduating from college, and she was the baby on that 96 team, but went right into the WNBA. And you see the men's team in the stands supporting the women.
Smote Augustus and Angel McCautry exchanging places. Tina Charles, part of that list. UConn players on the Olympic team. This is all time.
Gino Auriemma has been an assistant coach in 2000 with Nell Fortner as the head coach. That's the first 3 that they've knocked down. Miyazawa
Yuki Miyazawa, only her second game of this Olympic tournament. Well, you can see Japan, they still have great body language, still playing with effervescence and energy. U.S. will keep it here with under 6 to play in this final quarter. Well on their way to victory once again.
You just really enjoy watching this Japanese team play from Japan, and Gino Ariam is just happy with the way his team turned it up defensively in the second half. But you know, Japan plays with such passion, and they're so much fun to watch, and they have so much energy, and they continue to come at you. They've dropped into that zone.
Brianna Stewart, Lindsay Whalen back into the game. Sylvia Fowles able to finish inside, and the U.S. once again steaming towards 100 points.
Maya Moore looks like she'll pick up another foul.
Tamika Catchings back on the floor, and she replaces Maya Moore. Moore with 4 personals. One might imagine that'll be her curtain call. Morikawa's pass is intercepted by Whalen.
Yeah, Sylvia Fowles did a nice job getting around the defense to knock that away.
Brianna Stewart, just a terrific touch for the 6'4" Brianna Stewart, now a rookie with Seattle in the WNBA.
Yeah, Stewart in those 5 games in pool play was shooting 74% from the floor.
That is Stewart rebounding the missed 3 by Sanae Morikawa.
We've got 3 Minnesota Lynx players out there. Fowles, Whalen, and Augustus. Oh, nice pass.
Yeah, indeed. Connecting that time, 2 Minnesota Lynx players.
Well, Lindsay Whalen with a nice cut down the middle.
And the men are saying the women have it very much under control. Now let's get ready for Argentina.
Well, to think that Japan was shooting 50% in that first half against the United States, and talk about a change of the defense for the United States just making an impact. And Augustus has come into this game, and she is just really taking control on the offensive end. Her and Maya Moore. Diana Taurasi hit some threes too.
Yep, the U.S. now has broken the century mark in 5 of the 6 games they have played. And the real difference came after intermission. It was a 10-point game at halftime.
Yeah, 6 field goals. Pretty amazing to know that your defense is that good, and why they didn't play like that in the first half. But give credit to Japan. I mean, you've got to feel out your opponent also. And, you know, this is the United States team. We talked about how much time they've had together and how much the chemistry is coming together. But Japan changes that because of their style of play, and the United States had not played a team like that as of yet. We talked to Doug Bruno before the game. He said they're a little bit more like Australia in the sense of how they play.
These ladies, Tamika Catchings, Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird, Maya Moore, winners in the Olympics.
Well, pretty amazing that they've won Olympic gold, WNBA titles, NCAA titles. Cash has won it with 2 different WNBA titles with Seattle and Detroit. Cynthia Cooper won 3 in Houston, along with where she won championships with USC in college. And then Cheryl Swoops, great player Cheryl Swoops, winning Defensive Player of the Years, and also played for the Houston Comets and went to Texas Tech.
8 first picks, #1 picks overall, 8 of the 12 on the roster. And one thing we didn't show in that previous list, Annie, FIBA World Championships. A number of these players have been involved in those as well.
Absolutely, and some have lost some games internationally, which stay with them, that help motivate them.
Rui Machida, number 13. Brianna Stewart trying to deal with her. She is very quick at 5'3".
Now, the best finish that Japan has had in the Olympics was back in 1976, where they finished 5th.
Fouls wants it down low, obliging Tamika Catchings.
Yeah, nice pass, and just good patience and rotation off that pass.
Fouls now with 10. One of 6 U.S. players in double figures. Brianna Stewart with some terrific help.
And keeps the ball in play.
Yep, she snuffs out Asaka O, who's on the floor for only the second time in these Olympics. These games about to end for Japan's women's Olympic team, but they've made a great showing and they've become very popular in Japan.
Oh, they get huge crowds, not only huge crowds at the games, over 3,500, which is about how big their arenas are, but also even watching this game, there's a 12-hour difference. And the people back home in Japan were so excited to see this game, and they didn't care what time it was going to be. They were going to get up, and they have to be very proud of the way their women have played.
And again, a young team, nobody on the roster over 30, as they're really prepping this team for 2020 when the games move to Tokyo. Catchings for 3. The onslaught continues. Tamika Catchings adding the 3 for the U.S. They are 11 of 18 from beyond the arc. Sylvia fouls.
Now, Brittany Griner had 3 in the second half. There was none at all for the United States in that first half, but Stewart and fouls now each with 1.
Ishida hitting Neho Miyoshi, number 9 for Japan, who misses the shot, but we have a whistle and a foul. It's going to be on Japan. France and Canada coming up next. U.S. will take on the winner of that game. The semifinals coming up on Thursday. U.S. already beating Canada in the Olympics as well as exhibition play, and they also beat France in exhibition play. That'll lead up to the Olympics here in Rio.
Much better ball movement too by the United States, and well, a little bit of turnover, and that's just not playing with each other and the timing on who's going to go where. But United States now with 26 assists, which is averaging over 30 assists in these Olympics. It's pretty impressive.
And again, they had 40 in the China game. 40 assists in any game at any level is an amazing number. And they had that against China, their last game in the group stage.
And the free throws didn't matter in this second half for the United States. Yeah, Brianna Stewart with another block if they give it to her.
How about a 50-18 advantage for the U.S. over Japan here after intermission? 50-18.
That's just how scary good this team is. Who can touch them? But in saying that, their mindset is we've got to be careful of every opponent that we come up against.
Brianna Stewart with a block with 1:20 to play. And that comes from the tri-captains who are steeped in experience. We're talking about Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi, and Tamika Catchings.
Now, Sylvia Fowles started to go up and said, okay, you come in here, Brianna Stewart, and come get that. Oh, good hands by Stewart knocking that ball away. And you can see the fatigue factor, too, with Japan. And they've gotten some good looks even at the end. But not only the fatigue, but then also the defense of this United States team kind of making them change their shots.
Lindsay Whalen giving the U.S. 108 points.
Yeah, Japan just really have not had a lot of opportunities to shoot that 3 ball. Miyoshi, who doesn't get any playing time really coming into the game at 5'5", shooting an air ball. Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi, and their coach, Gino Auriemma from Connecticut, and the Olympic team.
Whalen again giving the U.S. 110 points. Well, Japan, a spirited first half, but just simply overmatched and dominated here in the second half by the United States.
Yeah, 7 players in double figures, which is normal for this United States team.
Oh, against fouls. Good luck. Sylvia stuffing her out. That should do it.
Now Lindsay Whalen will hold on to this one, and they've got to be very happy with the way they played and came back.
U.S. 6-0 after their 47th straight win in Olympic competition. The U.S. women now advancing to the semifinals on Thursday against the winner of the France-Canada game. That game coming up next. All in an effort to complete their quest for their 6th straight gold medal. So 3 of the 4 games, the quarterfinals complete. The upset of Australia by Serbia. They will take on Spain, France, Canada still to come. For Ann Myers-Drysdale and Kareth Burke, I'm Mark Zumoff. Thank you once again for joining us from Karaoke Arena. The U.S. men loving the performance by their counterparts on the women's side as they dominate here in the second half. They blow open a 10-point game. That was the spread at intermission, and they win it by 46. 110-64 over Japan. The U.S. back in action Thursday in the semis.
Today's game is brought to you with limited commercial interruption by Enterprise. Rent, buy, or share. We'll pick you up.
There's a